It's back. My favorite anime is back. Although, not entirely. You see, when I say it's back, I mean more in the sense of it never left. A lot of the Hunter x Hunter fanbase is anime only, and if you are, I will gladly have you know that Hunter x Hunter has a manga that is actually ahead of the anime by one arc. I know this isn't a lot, but seeing how the anime wrapped up like almost 10 years ago, as a community, can we just agree to take what we can get? Now let's talk about the Succession arc. Let me just tell you right now that this arc is going to be wild once it's finished. If it's finished. Big if. Like, the things going on in this arc make the Chimera Ant arc look like child's play. Kurapika taking place in the Succession Wars, hunting one of the princes for his clan's eyes, as well as the Phantom Troop. And then the Phantom Troop is also hunting Hisoka at the same time. And, well, it's better that I don't tell you and you just find out yourself, because the things going on here are like absolutely insane. Like, the main villain of this arc is making Meruem look like a complete baby. Granted, he was only alive for 47 days, so technically he is a baby, but ignoring all of that. Like, just listen to this clip from the New World Review, who also makes amazing Hunter x Hunter and, other anime content that you should definitely check out. He even has a complete review of the Succession War arc, so, go ahead and check that out.
There really aren't a lot of antagonists like him who are able to conjure this sense of genuine fear. I mean, the greatest antagonists in the series, Hisoka, Illumi, Chrollo, Meruem, all of them have features that end up endearing them to the watchers and readers of the series. Whether it be aspects of comedy, being able to portray or empathize with their perspective in life, or even in the case of Hisoka, just become a straight up protagonist sometimes. Saraidnik does not exist within this sort of realm. There is a very defined line that separates him from each of the aforementioned villainous presences. Although right at the outset, I should say that the Succession War is obviously nowhere near over, and there is still time to place Saraidnik into this basket if Togashi so desires. But I highly doubt that's happening, simply from the way in which he was set up to be one of, if not the most putrid and blatantly sinister existences within Hunter x Hunter. In fact, one character in the series has already described Saraidnik as pure, unbridled evil. Words which I entirely believe.
I just realized that there's literally only a matter of time until we get to see the fourth prince, Saradnik, is it? The fourth Prince Saradnik. It's only a matter of time until we get to see him animated. Like, we all thought Hisoka was bad, but this guy, whew, oh boy, this guy, this man is a menace to society. Like, the first time we see him, like when he first shows up, he's literally washing off the evidence. Like, out of everyone in the entire series, this guy radiates the most Black Air Force energy. Speaking of Hisoka, I mentioned he was here, right? Like, major spoilers, but this man got clapped, like straight bodied. So he showed up strapped and sent Cortopia and Shalnark to Chrollo in body bags. I remember hearing that Hisoka basically went through post-nut clarity from his loss with Chrollo. Like, I'm not gonna spoil much more, but for those of you who are still watching Hunter x Hunter, let me tell you, when you get to this arc in the manga, bro, everything just goes absolutely stupid. Okay, so for those of you who do want a spoiler slash synopsis of what's going on in the whole Dark Continent Succession War arc, basically what happens is Chrollo and Hisoka have their fight at Heaven's Arena. Because, Hisoka manages to get Chrollo's curse purged, so, Chrollo can use Nen again. So Chrollo picks up a new ability as well as borrowing Shalnark's and Cortopi's abilities, and then absolutely flat, like straight up decimates Hisoka. Like, Hisoka literally went into this fight with the cards stacked against him and takes his first major L of the series. After that happens, Hisoka literally died during the fight. But, being Hisoka, death isn't enough to hold him, so he literally uses bungee gum, which has the properties of both rubber and gum, if you didn't know. He uses that to restart his heart somehow, because that's what bungee gum does. So after he restarts his heart, which happens in front of Maki, by the way, he says to Maki, "Yo, Maki, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna kill all of the Phantom Troop, like, all of them." And Maki is like, "No, you ain't." And he's like, "Yes, I am." Then Hisoka leaves Maki. And might I add, by the way, that the only reason that Hisoka didn't kill Maki when he had the chance was because Togashi had a little writer's intuition that said that they would have a better interaction later on down the line. So he kept her alive and instead decided that Cortopia and Shalnark should die. And they did. So then we go and meet up with Kurapika, who finds out that the rest of his clan's eyes are in the possession of the fourth prince of the Kakin Empire, Prince Saradnik. So then he's like, alright, cool, I'm gonna go get those. And the perfect opportunity arrives because the current king of the Kakin Empire wants to choose his successor. So he gathers up all of the legitimate children, and I'm not even going to touch on the whole legitimate, illegitimate thing. It's one of the things you have to read the manga for because it is just way too complex to get into. But he gathers up all of the legitimate children, and they hop on a boat, and they're going to the Dark Continent, which is that place that Jing was talking about to go at the end of the Hunter x Hunter anime. So anyways, they're all heading up to the Dark Continent. None of these guys know about Nen, and then they do discover Nen. And everything just goes downhill. Like, I'm telling you, this arc is wild. You have to read it to, because like I'm doing it no justice right now just explaining it. I'm just going over the major parts, but like if you do decide to read this, it's probably one of the best arcs inside of the entire series. Like, I'm enjoying it that much. And not just because they brought all my favorite characters back. Like, we get Phaeton and Hisoka in the same arc. It's like, oh my, bro. I can't explain it anymore. You have to read it. It's just that good. My basic explanation, well, I wouldn't really say it's basic, and more like my super not polished, very undetailed and erratic explanation that only existed because I went off the script and kind of just freelanced the entire synopsis section of the video. But that entire thing does the whole Succession War / Dark Continent arc no justice whatsoever. This arc has so much going on, and Hunter x Hunter, priding itself on its story, or at least I think it does, is, well, very much downplayed with my whole synopsis. I really suggest that you look into this manga arc, despite the fact that I've given out so many spoilers for it. But there is still a lot of things to look forward to, like Jing, and, you know, the entire arc being finished. It's really one of those things that you kind of have to just read to experience. There's no way someone like me, who is very unqualified to be talking about anything professionally or detailed in any way, shape, or form, could ever even hope of giving even a fraction of the story in its true light. I really recommend, really recommend that you look into the Dark Continent / Succession Contest arc. Not just because Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite shows ever, but because it's just that good.